Hello, thanks for clicking play. My name is Marcus Vadas and you're watching On Air, filmed here at the beautiful Postmodern Studios in Irvine, California, West Side. That's my new gang sign right there. Today is a really special day for us because, Jim, you gave me some numbers last night. I did some calculations. And I did all the additions, and today is our first show, #1. And the numbers don't lie. So that's really exciting for us. The next cool thing about this show is our guest. And we wanted to do a nice big guest for our first show. You may not know his name, but you know his work. He has created one of television's biggest reality show franchises in the nation. And it is Real Housewives of Orange County. We've gone to Atlanta, New York, and the most infamous one, I think, is New Jersey. I know you've watched the show, and let's welcome our guest, Scott Dunlop. Scott, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Well, Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
So before you got into the reality show business, you were an ad guy. You had what you coined a virtual agency.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about that background. What were your clients? And
1992, I formed an agency, the Dunlop Group, which still is in existence, primarily focused on one client, which was owned by AT&T in Bell South, LA Cellular.
What type of work did you do? What were some of the most notable commercials or spots, outdoor stuff that you did?
I enjoyed the outdoor. I enjoyed radio. We did print, and I worked with a guy that I have very high regard for, Mark Fensky. Mm-hmm. And Mark and I kind of hit it off. He's very much a contrarian thinker, and we produced a television commercial, 30-second spot, very inexpensively, which I still like today.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the spot.
Beautiful woman in a red convertible passes you on the 405. She smiles at you and you smile back. She nods towards the exit. Suddenly you see before you the image of your wife the day of your wedding. You speed away as guilt swirls in your soul like too many cups of coffee. Now you have an overwhelming urge to be close to your wife, to touch her, to be everything to her. Maybe you should tell her. Valentine's Day special, $39 a phone. Call 1-800-LA's best.
So obviously, really cool spot, and like you said, very simplistic, just words. So tell us a little bit about the reaction of that spot, and you know what followed after that when it aired.
Well, the issue that became controversial was management changed during this term. Mm-hmm. So when the management looked at the spots, and everyone was starting to lose their mind, saying, "What kind of advertising is this?"
Yeah.
And this gentleman was more conservative, and he wanted safe advertising, which I think is a waste of money.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
The spot, I found the spot very poetic, personally. He had an issue, this specific individual. He said, well, why is he talking about a woman? Why is he talking about a wife? Why? But once again, it pulled. Numbers, just like what's happening now, I mean, it's pulling.
Yeah. So you basically had an agency, and it was you and a receptionist.
Correct.
And that was basically your full-time staff.
It was a lot of work.
Did you have a set group of people you worked with? How did that work for you?
I did work with, at that time, Western International Media, and we worked collaboratively on.
And they were a media buying service?
Correct. And that was successful. I mean, we were very aggressive, and we pushed the envelope creatively, because my whole focus at that time, on the creative side, was to try to differentiate them. And the only way to do that is to have a contrarian notion and to try to not advertise to your competitor, which I felt that they were doing.
So, okay, you leave the advertising world for a while. You saw the writing on the wall, made your exit, and then you kind of sat around for a while. How did this idea percolate, and how did it get into motion?
You make it sound like I was just laying around. Yeah,
just
laying around.
You know, you made your billions.
No. It was the advertising business was good, but you know, creating the show was, I had this idea that to do kind of follow some of the social anthropology of affluent America. I found it interesting, and at that time there were interesting components intersecting. Desperate Housewives was the #1 scripted show on television.
OC was running its course.
Right. There was a lot occurring in Orange County, in terms of popular culture. So I had this idea it was about 10 years ago. It emanated at a dinner party where I was kind of with people in Coto de Casa. So I go around the room. These are all friends.
Right.
Okay. And everyone basically is kind of bloviating the same thing.
Sure.
Life's perfect. Blah, blah, blah.
Now, is this true? I mean, or are they?
No,
they
it's true. No,
inflating it, or
I
this
think
is
that
just all,
they
this
have
is
great lives.
Affluent
It's
people
affluent
living,
suburbia. And I wanted to do something that could be interesting, some type of a documentary or docu-something on these people, including myself. Not necessarily about me.
Okay.
So what I did was, I could never get everyone together. It was impossible because everyone was busy. So as reality television was burgeoning, I put together a treatment, one-page treatment, based on the same concept, and sent it around, got 4 rejections, one interesting notion from Bravo. And they came back and said, this is interesting, do you have any tape? And I said, I'll put something together. Put together a tape, a sizzle reel, and sent it off. And about 2 months later said, this is interesting, we'd like to meet. Went, pitched the show. And it was based on controversy initially, I think. One of the things in my mind, why it was going to work. But they bought the show. And I think the first questions were, why will these people do it? And why will this community allow you to do it?
Why did they buy this show? What was appealing? Because they knew that there was going to be controversy? What was appealing for them? Why did they say, yeah, this is something we'd like to air on our...
Well, from my standpoint, I felt that this show could be very much on brand or enhance the brand of Bravo.
Right.
Because their targeted demography is household incomes of 125K plus college educated. I think the Golf Channel is the only network that has a higher viewing audience.
Yeah, it's a highbrow.
Right. So I felt that because they're fluent people, it could be interesting moments, everything that works within the reality structure and genre.
Here we are 4 years later, and now you are nominated. The show's nominated for an Emmy along with Top Chef and Kathy Griffin on the D list. So that's
well, once again, it's worked.
Cool.
It has an audience. It's worked for the network. It works for the producers. I think it works for everybody that's attached to it. It's found a good audience.
It's got a lot of legs in the sense that now, like I think the brilliance behind it is they're not just staying in Orange County, but they branch out to Atlanta, to New York, to New Jersey. You got 50 states to choose from. I mean, this thing could go worldwide. I mean, do you think this has the longevity of, say, The Real World, which has been around for, what, 17 years? They're on there.
Well, it's considered a docu-soap.
Yeah.
And soap operas have been on television for about 70 years. Yeah. I mean, will people watch this for 70 years? I think we'd probably change cast members.
Yeah, right. Thanks again for Click and Play and watching On Air. Again, I'm your host, Marcus Vadas, and we want to thank our guest again, Scott Dunlop, for coming down and wasting the day with us. Appreciate it.